Hi, Leo. Welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your April 2022 tarot reading. Thanks to those of you who liked, viewed, shared, and subscribed to the channel. I appreciate all of that. And for those of you new to the channel, of course, what we have in front of us is the Celtic Cross spread as always. Can also pull the Four Agreements, Oracle card, and a Mudra card for you guys. So we're actually going to start the reading off by rolling those astrology dice we have in front of us to get an idea of where your focus will be as far as that goes. Alright, so we have 11. And for you guys, your 11th house is Gemini. Nothing really going on there astrologically speaking, but this could just be saying that you have a focus on your friendships, groups, and hopes and wishes this month. Alright, we have Jupiter, and Jupiter is actually in Pisces, and of course there's some energy going on there, but yeah, for you guys, that's your 8th house of death, intimacy, investments, rebirth. And we have, excuse me, Taurus. And Taurus for you guys is your 10th house of career and social status. So there could be some focus on that for you guys. Of course, as we get toward the end of April, we will actually be in Taurus season. All right, so we'll fall out of the way. We'll get started. In the main situation position, we have Wheel of Fortune. So there's that Jupiter energy. And we have Seven of Pentacles, so Taurus energy. So already two of the dice that we see. We also see in the energies of the tarot cards. So with these two coming up, could just be saying that for some of you, you might actually feel a desire to start something new, right? You could just be reflecting on things, possibly a place that you've been for a long time and starting to reconsider, is that still the place you want to be, right? For a lot of you, it can definitely be around career. For some of you, could just feel that urge, like, okay, you could just be reflecting on how far you've gotten to this point, right? And asking yourself, do I want to continue on this path or possibly look elsewhere? Let me see what else comes to mind with this. And it could just be saying that, of course, especially in the northern hemisphere, we're going to be starting spring during Aries season. So it could just be pointing that to where now as energies start to increase in that area, you could just be reflecting on that and saying, all right, am I where I want to be, right? So it could just be where people start to think about their goals around that time when the weather starts to get nice. Things along those lines. In the challenger obstacle position, we have the Ace of Pentacles. So for some of you, the reason why you could be looking at that situation is maybe you have a new offer that's come your way, right? And that could be what starts getting the gears turning. So, or it could even just be an idea, a financial idea, right, of where you want to go. So with that new idea or that new physical offer coming your way, you guys could just be looking at, okay, well, this is where I'm at now, and doing a little comparison, right? Like, okay, I see a lot of potential in this new path, right? So do I want to continue on the path that I'm currently on or just pursue something new altogether? So that's what I see with that. In the foundation position, we have the Devil. So this is Capricorn energy here, and for you guys, that is your 6th house. So this could point to your work, your daily routine, right? So maybe part of the difficulty for some of you could just be like you might feel a sense of loyalty to whatever it is. So again, I'll just use a job as an example, right? So maybe you've been working on a certain career path for a while, right? And a new opportunity comes your way, might be a totally different path or even the same career, but just with a different company, right? So you could just be looking at, okay, well, maybe you feel like, oh, they were the first place that gave me my opportunity, right? When I first got into the workforce, right? So there could just be reasons you may have, or okay, I've built relationships with the people I'm working with. So that could be part of where the struggle comes up for you, right? Where on the one hand, you might not feel like it's fulfilling your goals the way you'd hoped it would, but then you also feel the bond of those connections, and that could feel, in a more negative sense, that could make you feel like you're held back, right? Like deep down, you want to pursue the new thing, but you're like, but what would happen if I leave these connections behind, right? One of those types of situations. For others of you, it could just be saying that you have such a heavy amount of focus on that area of life too, right? And that could be where the reflections come in, where you might have felt like you've been putting so much energy into that area of life, but maybe not seeing the results. And if that's the case, keep in mind that we had a Venus retrograde in that sign. We had Mercury retrograde started in Aquarius and moved into that sign. We had Pluto there for years, right? So there's just been a lot of energy in that house that might have slowed things down for you guys. And now with a lot of those energies clearing out, you might actually feel some more forward progress in that regard. Past energy, we have the 6 of Pentacles. So again, we see Taurus energy here. And maybe that's what you feel too, right? For some of you, might have felt like in the past it was a fair exchange, right? Maybe you felt like the amount of work you put in, you were fairly compensated for it. And now you might feel like you're starting to outgrow that job, right? Where you're like, okay, well, I'm still successful at what I do, but maybe I feel like my skill set isn't necessarily getting me the compensation that it was at one point, right? So you might feel like your skill set's growing at a rate that's faster than your wages are growing, right? So one of those types of situations there. All right. In the present position, we have the Hermit, Virgo energy, and the Four of Wands, Aries energy. So at the time of recording this, we haven't had that full moon in Virgo yet, so that's one thing this could be pointing to, especially because for you guys, Virgo is your second house of finances, possessions. So just like Taurus naturally rules that energy, for you guys, Virgo rules that in your chart. So could just be saying that you could just be reflecting on, okay, how do I get to that goal that I have set for myself, right? If that's the case, this could just be saying that at the very least, you'll get a pretty good idea of which path to take as we get toward the end of Aries season. So that'll be around the middle of April, because that's what these energies represent here. It's the last 10 degrees of Aries. But yeah, it could just be saying that you're deep in reflection there. Like, okay, how do I get to where I'm trying to go, right? So that could be what you're feeling, a bit of an introspective energy. And for some of you, that could also be saying the key would be to expand your horizons too, because that Aries energy represents your ninth house. So let's say if you have a local shop, right? If you're an entrepreneur, you have a local business in your area, this could just be saying maybe start to put what you have to offer online, right? So you could get a broader client base in that regard. All right. In the near future position, we have the Ten of Swords. So this is Gemini energy here. And that is your 11th house, which we saw come up in the dice too. So this could just be saying that you might actually be ending some connections with groups. So for some of you, this can be an indicator that you might actually leave one job and move to another, right? Because that could represent a group in that sense, right? Like, okay, now I'm leaving a connection behind with my colleagues and pursuing something new. For some of you, there could even be a move involved around the situation as well, especially given that we saw the Aries energy there, which could just be saying you might find that the best opportunity for what you're trying to do next in your career might be at a far distance, right? So you might realize, okay, well, where I'm at now, I'm not necessarily paid as well as I'd like, but if I move to this other area, right, they pay better, right, or the cost of living is better, so there could be some reflection on your part about possibly moving, and through that process, of course, you could end some connections in that regard. And for some of you, this could just be as simple as saying that the overthinking around the situation might be coming to an end for you guys as well. All right. In the position of your influence in the situation, we have the Death card, which is Scorpio energy, and the Five of Cups, also Scorpio energy. So for you guys, Scorpio energy represents your home, your roots, motherhood. So it could just be saying that for some of you, yeah, this could be another indicator still that you might actually find that the best opportunity for you would actually be to move. So another way to look at this, that devil energy could just be saying that maybe you feel some obligation to family, right? Maybe there would be some disappointment where like, okay, well, maybe, so for some of you might even be younger, for example. So this could just be as simple as you finally reached the age where maybe you could be moving out on your own, right? So there's the one part where you're excited about it, but on the other side, you're like, oh, I don't know, I feel kind of bad leaving it behind, right? So it could just be one of those situations there. But that's what I see with that. And yeah, and it could just be saying that at least temporarily you might see things on a more negative side, right? Which is because if we look at the background here, it's a very gray neutral background, which to me represents the choice, right? So there's the choice to look at the three spilled cups or the two that are standing behind them, right? So it'll just be one of those things where you might be grieving for a little bit. I don't feel like it's going to be related to physical death, of course. I just feel like it's more of you might make some kind of moves and some kind of changes. I'm feeling primarily within your career. And through that process, there could be some disappointment, right? Like, okay, leaving these connections behind that I've had for a long time, right? Something along those lines. In the environment position, we have the Eight of Wands. So this is Sagittarius energy here. So yeah, this looks like there's going to be a lot of forward movement. So most likely once you do make that decision, right, whatever it is, for some of you it could be, like I said, relocation, Or at the very least, let's say that this could represent just putting your resume out there, right? Where you're like, okay, I feel like, you know, my abilities aren't compensated at the level that I'd like, so I'm going to see what else is out there, right? So it could just be as simple as you making those moves to see, like, all right, maybe I do, so maybe you're not immediately going to be leaving something behind, but you could get those gears rolling this month. This could just be saying that there'll be a lot of communication coming your way as well. And like we said, we're moving into Aries season, a fellow fire sign of yours, so that could definitely activate all that energy, especially given that it's a ninth house, so you might be getting communications from all over the place. All right, in the hopes or fears position, we have the Seven of Cups. So more Scorpio energy here, and I feel like this is saying that you're fearing that you're not seeing the situation clearly, right? You might fear that the decision you make might be the wrong decision. See what else comes to mind with this. Yeah, I mean, astrologically speaking, there's not really much going on. I mean, we do have the South Node in Scorpio, and that's going to be a transit that's going to go on for a little more than a year. But astrologically speaking, there's not much going on in Scorpio that would make you feel all that scorpionic energy. So yeah, I feel for a lot of you, it's just one of those things where you're looking at a potentially big change, and you could just be fearful around that. All right, in the outcome position, we have the Ace of Wands. So yeah, to me, this represents that, okay, whatever situation you're going through with this Ace of Wands and the outcome, I feel like this is saying that you will have an opportunity presented to you to actually take action on the situation. So for a lot of you right now, this could just be the thought process that you're going through, right? Maybe even putting your foot in the water to see, like, okay, do I want to go down this path, right? Like I said, if it's a job, then put your resume out there. Maybe you might actually go on interviews and realize, okay, well, maybe where I'm at now isn't as bad as I thought, right? So you might decide to stay there, but at least you get that clarity of your mind, like, okay, I could stop thinking about what if, right? Just through that process. But yeah, with this coming up in the outcome, this shows to me that there will be an actual opportunity for you to take action. So as long as you get through the thought process now, when that time comes, you should be ready to act on it. All right, bottom of the deck, we have the Six of Cups. So yeah, more Scorpio energy here. So quite a bit of Scorpio energy coming up in the spread for sure, which again, like I said, for you guys, points to your home, your roots. So could just be a little back and forth on that, right? So for some of you might actually, let's say you explore something, right? So just a generic example, you're living in one area and you're thinking about moving to an area 10 hours away, right? And maybe it just keeps nagging at you, like, okay, I can't stop thinking about making this move. So you might decide, you know what, let me go stay there for a couple of weeks, see if I like it, right? And make a decision around that. So for some of you might actually do that, right? You might go, decide to do it, and through the process of doing so, you might start to feel a little homesick, right? And then that might actually make you think, well, okay, you know what, now I have a new appreciation for where I am, and maybe you go back, right? Or for others of you, you might be like, yeah, this is actually pretty awesome, and you might decide to go forward with the move. So for some of you, it could just be as simple as that, where you might decide that, all right, this thought isn't going away. I'm going to have to do something about it. You might not feel ready to fully commit and completely just move, but you might be like, all right, let me go physically be in the area for a while, see how I feel about it, and go from there. All right, moving on to your Four Agreements card. You have don't take anything personally. Here we go. And it says embrace your freedom. All right, so let's see what the message says. Okay, it says you gain a huge amount of freedom when you take nothing personally. No spell can affect you regardless of how strong it may be. And if you live without fear, if you love, you will be happy with your life. So, pretty positive message there. And just interesting to see the message about freedom and thinking about the fact that we're going to have a lot of energy in your ninth house, which Sagittarius type ninth house energy could definitely point to a lot of desire for freedom. So, hopefully that resonated. All right, next we have message in a bottle. There's the artwork, and the number is 15. And this is from the Wisdom of the Oracle, by the way. All right, so let's see what this says. Okay, it says communication, a sign, a claydon, pointing the way to your highest good. The Oracle's message. Spirit sends you signs when you ask for them, when you believe you will receive them, and when you allow yourself to become fluent in the language of symbols, oracles, and omens. They may come to you as a bird flying by, a logo on a truck, and a song on a radio. Expect confirmation that you're pointed in the right direction. Keep your ears open, for someone might say just the right thing that will give you the answer to your query. Today your message is this: Spirit hears you, and the reply is favorable. So, pretty positive message there. It could just be telling you to possibly rely a little bit on your intuition, right, in order to guide you as far as what decision you're trying to make. The relationship message says you can expect someone to favor you with positive news. This could be in the form of a letter, phone call, or email. You are the intended receiver of this message, so stay open to what you learn. Only good will come of it in the end. The signs are all there. Pretty positive message there as well. I really didn't get much of a relationship vibe from this spread, but hopefully that resonated with some of you, and worst case, we'll be putting the love readings out within the next week. All right. The prosperity message says you are on target with your purpose and your passion. You are coming into alignment with your destiny, and Spirit wants you to know that you're on the right track. Expect a call, a new opportunity, or a message from an old friend or business contact that will lead you closer to your dreams and your greatest desires. Spirit has been listening to you. So, interesting there where it talks about new opportunities, which I was kind of feeling with the Eight of Wands, where I was talking about a lot of movement there, but also it mentioned potentially getting a call from an old friend or a business contact, and then that makes me think of the Six of Wands at the bottom of the deck. So, Six of Cups at the bottom of the deck, rather. So, definitely looks like you might have multiple opportunities, and maybe for some of you that might be where it becomes difficult, right? Because maybe, let's say, a friend of yours does give you a business proposal, and on the one hand, you might feel like, oh, it'd be really cool to work with them, but I'm in this place that I've been with for a long time, right? So it could just be one of those things too, where you might have multiple options come your way, and that could be where the difficulty might come in. So hopefully that resonated with you. All right. Lastly, we have Mudra, and this is your Mudra here. It's the Kubera Mudra, and the keyword for it is abundance. Okay, and let's see if we can get that to focus. All right, there we go. Under benefits, it says clears the frontal sinuses and helps to balance left and right nostrils, improves sense of smell, sharpens inner vision and ability to more clearly see your path in life, helps create abundance, especially related to virtuous desires that take into consideration the welfare of all beings. So if that sounds like a Mudra thing would be beneficial for you guys, I will put the name in the description of the video as always. I'll wrap up there, and I'll see you guys next month. All right, bye.